talking about gun control. You're not going to wave a magic wand and get rid of the establishment. This maniac is going to inspire the next maniac.
News, analysis, opinion.
But my focus is kind of a mental health crisis. Swamps not going to drain itself. I'm just sick of the protesting in general, and that's why it's so very important to be prepared.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
The time to rise has been engaged. We're better, best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest work song, the finest hour.
Hello and welcome to Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. I am Tony Colombo in studio with producer Ashlyn, and we got a busy show today to get you ready for your weekend. What's he talking about right now? Can we go to this? Sorry to start the show a little crazy here, but Donald Trump is speaking right now at the White House talking about the Genius Act, which is an AI bill, or a crypto bill. He's speaking live. Let's dip into this and see if we can get some information here.
Prime time too, but they happen to have a little rerun. I don't want to embarrass you, but fantastic job, really. You are absolutely so perfect for the job. Congratulations, Paul. And Paul is here today among the commissioners, various commissioners, including Hester Pierce and Mark Yoida. Hester,
maybe we'll go back after the introductions are over with, because we've got a lot to talk about today. But this is going to be very interesting because not only did he have his AI summit earlier this week, now about to announce some legislation involving cryptocurrency. So some very hot topics there that the president is addressing this week, and I'm very interested to see what the details of this announcement are. So we're going to keep an eye on it, and we've got a lot, as I mentioned, a lot of other things to talk about. The latest going on with the Epstein situation. We've got another crazy liberal judge letting criminals out of jail, sneaking them out the back door. This is not the one in Wisconsin. This is a new situation happening with that. We've got more information coming from the investigation into the way things were handled during COVID by the Biden administration. Some things that we already knew, but we're getting more and more proof about just how crooked things were and how they were handled during that period of time. We'll be joined by Aaron Tarlow, the new host of Shall Not Be Infringed, gun show that you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL. Longtime gun expert here on this show as well. Aaron's going to join us in the 3 o'clock hour. Crane Durham's going to join us a little bit later this hour. And right now, to start us off, as he does every Friday afternoon, even though it's a little clunky and a little weird today, Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning is here. Gabriel.
You know what time it is.
I know what time it is. It's time for you to bring some sense and sensibility back to this this program. So
I mean, I can try.
You're a genius. Gabe is a rocket scientist, MIT grad rocket scientist that knows everything. So when we're talking about,
I got everybody fooled.
On a week where we're talking about AI and cryptocurrency, does that make you feel? Are you relieved to see the federal government trying to get ahead of these things and be proactive in these situations? And I know along with that, even if you're relieved by that at some level, you're also probably a little nervous because it is the federal government getting involved in these things at a level. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely both. Like, basically, that's my reaction to anything the government does. Essentially, is I'm typically a little either slightly relieved and slightly trepidatious about the whole thing. It's always a bit of both. It's that little girl in the taco commercial, soft or crunchy. Why not both? I'm definitely both when it comes to these type of things. It's important that the government have at least an understanding enough about these technologies that it can sort of wrap its mind around it, wrap its hands around it, and understand how these things fit into either existing legislation or if new legislation is required to deal with them in certain contexts. But also, the government needs to make sure it doesn't overstep and regulate these things into oblivion, which is entirely possible, or even worse than that, regulate it in such a way that the only outcome from its usage is bad. Because that can definitely be the case, especially with something as volatile as AI.
Do you think that I'm completely a believer that AI is going to play a massive role in our lives, in just about every aspect of our lives. It's going to get more and more a part of our lives as time goes on. I'm convinced 100% of that. I was at one point 100% convinced that cryptocurrency was going to not necessarily take over, but it was going to become a day-to-day part of our lives. But then there's been, due to a lot of weird cryptocurrency scandals and scams that have been done, that has damaged, I think, the industry and has made people wary of the legitimate cryptocurrencies that exist out there, and has slowed down that integration into regular life. Do you think that cryptocurrency? Do you think like our kids, our grandkids, will be using cryptocurrency just as much, if not more, than the dollar? Or do you not see this being as much of our future as AI systems will be?
The way I imagine it is basically our grandkids are going to have crypto wallets, and we're going to be, that's how we're going to fund their lifestyle during the summer. They're going to run up to the ice cream truck and use and show their phone and pay for their dreamsicle with crypto. That's how I imagine it kind of working. Because at some point it is going to get integrated into our normal banking infrastructure. It's going to get integrated into the way we handle our transactions and things like that, just because the technology is, I mean, when you actually understand what the technology is doing, is the encryptions, the point-to-point blockchain usage and things like that. Those things are actually really good for the back end of banking transactions, and I think ultimately it is going to be universally adopted, I think, by a lot of institutions, or they're going to replace on some level some of these institutions that we use for our bank transactions. So that's a fact of life. Now, whether any of these particular cryptocurrencies themselves survive to see that future, I don't think very many are going to make it. So imagine, and this kind of goes for AI as well. Imagine, it's the late 80s, early 90s. It's the very beginnings of the internet, right? There were a lot of people who poo-pooed it. He said, this is a fad. The internet's not going anywhere. It's not really useful for anything. It's too technical. I don't really understand how it works. How do you, what do you mean I'm supposed to use my phone to call another computer somewhere else? It doesn't make any sense. And then I got to use commands to do this. Of course, that's all the back end stuff. We watched it develop and everybody kind of freaked out about it. Then we saw websites. The protocols got through, the websites became a thing, and everybody and their mom started a website. And for some reason, everybody speculated that the website, just having a website, meant you were going to make money. So that gave us the .com boom and the .com crash, right? So basically, we're seeing the early days. It's the same thing with both AI and crypto. We're seeing these early days where people don't quite understand it. They're not quite sure how it's going to apply. Some people think it's a fad. Some people are betting a little too much. They're betting the entire farm on things they don't really get. But ultimately, there are going to be these strong systems that are going to arise from, I think, these various crashes. I think we recently seen a crypto crash, but these various crashes are going to clear out all of the noise. They're going to clear out all the fake and the shadow organizations that are just out there to make quick buck. They're going to go away, and we're going to see a real infrastructure that, like you said, really affects our daily lives. The same way we use the internet for everything right now. We use the internet for our phone calls in buildings, right?
Yeah.
That didn't used to be a thing. We use the internet. The internet is in our pocket 24/7, and we use it to do everything. It's going to be the same way with both AI and crypto.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on this announcement that he's making right now at the White House. Donald Trump is, and we may dip into it or get you some of the transcripts, some of the information about what he is announcing regarding the future of cryptocurrency. I did see a moment ago some of the headlines that are already coming out about it is that he is saying that the system that we currently operate under is outdated and needs to be updated. And so that's part of this and how cryptocurrency is going to play a massive role in our future. So very interesting. And we'll get you those details here in just a few minutes as he continues to roll out the Genius Act. Like I said, we might dip back in there here in a minute when we know he's giving good info. But to your point, Gabe, one of the things that has hurt the growth of cryptocurrency to this point, and maybe this is part of one of the things that he is addressing. If you pay attention to the like internet culture and the YouTube superstars, like the Logan Paul, Jake and Logan Pauls of the world, and the Hawk Tua girl, and these kind of people, they have
Hawk Tua coin.
Yes,
how many you?
They've she did it. That's exact. She did do that. Like they have almost all engaged in some kind of either creation of or latched onto a made up cryptocurrency, a coin, and got all, they go on their YouTube channels and social medias and they pump it up and they tell all their followers to buy it. And this is going to be the future. And then as soon as everybody buys it, they pull the rug. And I mean, it happened. It's happened in the last couple of months. I mean, it's been going on for years and people have still not completely learned. There's still people that have not been exposed to that scam and are getting scammed to this day. And when that's all the headlines about cryptocurrency you see is another scam from another shady, influencer, then that really damages your ability to grow that industry because it's just so full of deceit and scams everywhere. So
the meme coins are everywhere, and of course some of the meme coins like Doge, they managed to actually make some people rich. It legitimately did, but I can guarantee you there were a number of people who got scammed on it and they lost their shirt on Doge. So look, that's going to happen regardless of what new technology, what thing we're talking about. There are still people who fall for the scam of somebody calling and asking that you need to pay your state taxes with the gift cards, and you just send them to the Wendy's on the corner. Okay, people are still falling for that one. So obviously, people are going to still fall for the various crypto and AI scams. I think AI scams might be the next one.
What about the foreign prince that needs to move his trillions of dollars over to the United States and just needs you to hold the a bank account open for them for a period of time, and he'll give you $2 million. That's not a scam, is it? That's not a That's not. That's not one of the classics, is it?
I'm legitimately about 60% Nigerian, and I can't tell you how many of my relatives kept contacting me out of Nigeria, asking me to hold on to their money.
And you hold on to $1 trillion, and they'll let you keep 10% if you just hold it while they move over. I mean, seems like
easy money, man. Right?
Seems legit to me. That's Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning. He is going to stick around for another segment later on this hour. We're going to talk to our buddy Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com. And with Gabe, I want to get the latest happening with the Epstein situation and also a major announcement, a late show hero, a late night host that has been very involved in politics over the last several years, had a very disappointing announcement to make last night, and we will fill you in on those details as we continue with Gabe Pfeiffer here next on Colombo and Company.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze,
Really made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
1019 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
If you are thinking about selling your home, the best team to call in the St. Louis area is the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. You guys have heard me talk about our personal experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner a few years ago, selling our old home, buying our new home on the other side of things, and just an incredibly positive experience all the way through. Rodney and Jen are selling 15 times more homes per year than your typical home seller. They have so many qualified buyers right now that they guarantee to get you an offer. And like I said, I can tell you from firsthand experience, but those stats speak for themselves. Rodney and Jen Wallner have the experience, they have the know-how, and above all, at least from what we saw, they have the work ethic to be the best. When we went through selling our home a few years ago, the market was definitely on our side. It was very much a seller's market, and it still is. So if this is something that you've been thinking about for a while, maybe putting off for a while, don't let that opportunity pass you by. Call the Wallners, sit down and have just that first conversation with them, and at least get that peace of mind of how much they think they can get for your home, how fast they think they can sell it. And then, once you have that information, you'll know at that point whether or not it's the right time to move forward. And I think if this is something that you've been thinking about for a while, I would definitely recommend that this is the time to move forward with Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner Home Selling Team. Call them now at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. When life changes, you need someone you can trust. That's Todd Sivia. At Sivia Law, they're dedicated to helping you through all of life's transitions, specializing in estate planning and elder law. With 7 convenient locations in the area, expert guidance is always close by. Call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, or visit SiviaLaw.com. Don't forget, first 10 people that tell them Tim Jones sent me get a free $300 strategy session. Sivia Law, helping you protect what matters most.
McGuire Moving is silver certified, which means they are great at relocating senior citizens. In fact, McGuire is a household name because McGuire understands the stress involved when moving older adults. So if you or family members need help moving, I highly recommend McGuire Moving. 314-241-0600, 241-0600. Get a free in-home estimate. McGuireMoving.com.
What if there was a one-stop shop for all your healthcare needs and no insurance was needed? At Bell Healthcare, we make wellness simple. Optimize the patient's life. Struggling with weight loss? We offer proven programs, including GLP-1 treatments like semaglutide. Need hormone therapy? We've got personalized plans for both men and women. Nagging pain or injuries? Chiropractic and regenerative medicine are available. Ready to take control of your health? Visit bellhealthcare.net today and get optimized.
Dude, ready to shred your taste buds? Hit up Do Shaggy's, the gnarliest 90s skateboard anime-themed restaurant in St. Peters. Our scratch-made Shaggy OG double smash burger with grilled onions and house-made Shaggy sauce will blow your mind. Plus our epic cheesesteak mafia on garlic bread. It's totally rad. Fresh everything, beef gallo fries, and kid-friendly options too. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 8, Sundays, 11 to 4. Do Shaggy's, 429 South Church Street, St. Peters. Come get stoked and get fed.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Here come the drums. Welcome back to Colombo Company on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Tony Colombo here in studio with Brewster Ashland and Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning on the line with us. And Gabe, I know this breaks your heart. Prominent liberals and celebrities around the country, around the world, really, are mourning the news that CBS will end The Late Show with Stephen Colbert at the end of next season.
Oh no!
No,
Not Steven,
no
no!
more Stephen Colbert. This announcement was made last night on the show. He announced that he had just learned that CBS was ending the show next spring. So in the spring of 2026, the host's announcement was met with boos from the in-studio audience, as well as displeasure from his liberal fans online. Under Colbert, since he took over in 2015, the show has become a reliable destination for progressive views, anti-Republican talking points, and friendly Democrat interviews. The same night as he announced the cancellation last night, his lead guest was Adam Schiff. Are you freaking kidding me? You got Adam Schiff as your headline guest of the show, and you're wondering why you got canceled. You're wondering why nobody wants to watch this show anymore. I mean, how perfect is that? In fact, it doesn't get more perfect. So last night, the first guest he has after announcing the show is being canceled is Senator Adam Schiff. And then in the articles about this, they point out all the people that have been like sending, like commenting on social media, and like one of them is Rachel Zegler, the Snow White actress.
Oh
like
gosh!
like literally the most the most insane progressive celebrities and politicians are the ones that are going, oh, this is terrible. I can't believe this is happening. I mean, that alone, you don't even have to tell me what the actual news was. But if you tell me that people like Adam Schiff and Rachel Zegler are really upset about it, I know something good has happened.
It's kind of amazing. I mean, typically the rats are leaving the ship as it's going down, as opposed to the proliferation of rats are the reason the ship is going down, because that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah.
If you stack your deck with the Schiffs and the Zeglers of the world, yeah, that ship's going down for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody saw this coming. I mean, honestly, it's pretty clear that when you put out a product for national consumption, and you make fun of and you hate on and you try to discredit and demoralize half of your potential audience every single night, it's no wonder that you're eventually just gonna lose it. You can't keep producing a product that you can only sell to half America.
Mm-hmm. And it's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not
That's
funny.
The main thing.
It's not
obviously
entertaining. You're right. I mean, and you're right. It not only does it turn its back on half of its potential audience, a show like this, but they don't even like
the remaining audience gets nothing to grab onto.
They're certainly not laughing. They may be like pumping their fist, like, because they agree with you politically, but nobody's having fun with this. And you look at Jon Stewart at The Daily Show. Jon Stewart is a massive liberal. I watch clips from The Daily Show all the time because they're hilarious. And he is intellectually honest enough to attack Democrats when they deserve it. He's definitely extremely one-sided. He's very, very liberal, but he will take shots at Democrats and tear them up as well, because I think he just knows that you lose credibility if you're not capable of calling strikes on your own side. But Stephen Colbert does none of that. He threw the softball interview to Joe Biden when he was, still in the campaign. That was such a joke, and so many other things over the years.
I felt so uncomfortable at that interview. It felt like I was watching somebody do somebody some sort of sexual favor. That's what it kind of it felt like. It's like what is happening right now? Geez, you just at least do this in the privacy of your own bedroom. But look, the main thing, and I can't remember which comedian I heard talk about it, but it's the difference between going for laughter and going for applause. There's a big difference there. On the one hand, if you're saying something that's intended to actually make somebody laugh. You're going for something that is going to make someone instinctually respond with laughter. You're going to hit a certain part of the brain where it strikes you as hilarious, and your natural reaction will be to laugh. Now, if you're going for applause, you're speaking to something intellectual, not even necessarily intellectual, but certainly ideological, that will appeal to someone as they consider it. It's like, okay, and then now they have to, their response is, well, I guess, I have to respond somehow to what was just said, because this is supposedly the interactive part of the show. But I guess I'm just going to affirm what he said. I'm going to virtue signal with my hands to say, yes, I agree with you. And then you have the applause line. So a joke is very visceral for humanity. You either get it or you don't. It hits or it doesn't, and it's intentional what you're trying to do. It's why comedians are often some of the most intelligent people out there, because you really have to know human psychology. Absolutely. These guys, they just want affirmation from the audience that their liberal point of view is right. It's like, hey, Trump, am I right? And then everybody applauds.
Exactly. And here's my prediction that also shows just how out of touch with reality the left-wing media is. I will bet that Stephen Colbert will immediately be a part of the MSNBC staff. And I could see the people at MSNBC thinking to themselves, this is how we beat Gutfeld. This is how we, because Greg Gutfeld, who I've said many times, I just don't get it. I understand that he's supposedly funny, and he's supposed to be like the funny, witty, conservative talk show host, and the ratings certainly back it up that he's got a massive audience. It's just not for me. But I could see them thinking to themselves, oh, this is Gutfeld's worst nightmare, because now we have our own witty, funny, liberal. We can now, we can take him on, on his own terms, and it'd be funnier and cooler and wittier. And Stephen Colbert is none of those things. He's not funny, he's not witty, and he's not cool. But I bet you MSNBC thinks he is, and I know he thinks he is. So don't be surprised. Not for one moment do I think this is the end of us having to deal with Stephen Colbert, maybe even on a nightly basis. I guarantee you he becomes like the cool guy on CNN or MSNBC.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're going to bring him in for commentary for sure. He's going to be a regular contributor, if nothing else. And like you said, it's entirely possible they give him a show and trying to eat into Gutfeld's audience, and Gutfeld's going to eat his lunch more than he already did.
Absolutely. Talking to Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning. I'm going to try not to let this go like forever and rant as I have been all week about the Epstein situation, but there is an update. So let's try to talk about it.
Okay.
Trump is going to release Epstein something. I don't know if it's a client list or what it is, but he's going to release something. In a Truth Social post last night, Donald Trump said, quote, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, already gaslighting with that first sentence, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by the Democrats. Nope, that's a lie. That sentence is a lie. Should end right now. Bondi made a statement after the Truth Social post last night and said that her office would be ready to file a motion today asking a federal judge to unseal the grand jury transcripts in connection with Epstein's case. A former FBI agent says we're going to be disappointed. The United States the citizens are going to be disappointed when these documents are released. Nicole Parker, a former FBI agent who was stationed in Florida where Epstein kept one of his mansions, said, quote, Americans are going to be greatly underwhelmed with the release of anything Epstein related. There is no smoking gun. And for the record, There is no more that this administration would love to do than put handcuffs on anyone that's hurting a child. Listen, that all might be the case, but that's just not what you told us for months and years. If this was, you didn't say this was a Democratic scam. You didn't say the Epstein list was written by Obama and Hillary. At one point you said there was no list. There was no list. No. At first there was a list. Then there was no list. Then there was a list, but it was written by Obama and Hillary. And then you said, don't you think they would have used it against us if they had it? Well, you just told me they wrote one. So yeah, they would have used it against you. So none of this is making any sense. Now he's saying they're going to release something, but according to people that supposedly know what's in there, it's going to be a whole bunch of nothing. This is the most frustrating story that I can remember in a long time, Gabe. And despite all the opinions and twists and turns it's taken, there's one thing that I'm sure of. I'm not the crazy one here. I'm not wrong. I'm not the crazy one here. Stop. You're telling me that I'm crazy, and you're telling me that I'm making things up or overreacting or whatever. And I know that I'm not, because I have the proof of all the videos, all the quotes, all the statements that have been made over the last few years from y'all. And so that's the latest. Trump says he's given Pam Bondi the direction to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval to end the scam perpetuated by Democrats. Woo! What do you think about this latest?
Oh my gosh, it boggles the mind how we got here. I don't know. This feels very much like a self-inflicted wound by the Trump administration. They didn't have to go this way. That if for some reason that there was something about the Epstein files that maybe releasing the names that we're thinking of would have caused an international incident that they didn't want to deal with, or it would have revealed some undercover sources, or it was a matter of freaking national security, whatever it was that makes them think that they can't tell us what we want to know. If they had just said that, if they had just, that might have been enough for us to just like, all right, I guess we'll just trust you on this one. But what they did was they tried to gaslight us into thinking that our demand for the answers that we've had for years on this is a bridge too far.
Yeah,
and that's the thing I don't get. I don't know why they chose this way to go on dealing with this Epstein question. And the thing is, these are reasonable questions, because the thing is, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for trafficking girls to clients.
Yes.
Right?
Human trafficking of underage girls. Yes.
So the natural reaction is, who were the clients?
Yep.
Because we got the girls. They came in and they testified.
Mm-hmm.
We got the one who sold the girls.
Yep.
That's Ghislaine Maxwell.
She's in jail.
We got the guy who facilitated the entire operation. That's Jeffrey Epstein and his island and his jet and all that stuff. So where are the Johns?
Yes.
Where are the guys who paid?
We heard over and over again from Trump himself, from the people that are now in his administration, going back years. It's going to be bad news when the Epstein information comes out, when the information about that island, the people on that plane, when that information comes out, there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of powerful people in a bad place. Like this. Mm-hmm. This is what we were told for a very long time. We were told, it's the largest pedophile
cover up,
human trafficking ring in history. So, we certainly have not gotten enough proof to even back up that claim. If it's the biggest ring in history, then
how many clients are we talking?
Yeah, there's got to be more information. There's got to be more details, but. Yeah, but no, now we're the ones that are doing the work of the Democrats. That's the one that really gets me.
Yeah.
That,
why do you guys keep asking about this? Why do you keep asking? It's like,
because I want answers, because I was promised answers by you.
I was promised answers. And part of this, and Camille Peterson, we were talking about this on air in the morning, and Camille Peterson came on our Rumble stream and commented, and she it was a very interesting point that she made there, that it's really about accountability. It's part of that accountability thing for the powerful, that we were essentially promised through
Yes.
the sort of populist campaign that swept Donald Trump back into office. It said, hey, you know what? These guys, the rich, the powerful, the politically connected, all of these guys have been exploiting you for however long, and no one has ever held to the task, but we're the ones to do it. We're the ones to bring down the deep state. They're all part of that. We're the ones to bring down these people who've been trying to go after me through various lawfare. You know, you can see how badly they're reacting to me. It's because I'm not one of them, right?
Yeah.
That was the messaging. So now when it comes time to deliver on that messaging, you all of a sudden we're the weird ones for asking for what you promised us.
Yep. It's been a total 180 and it doesn't make any sense. And that's why I'm not going to let it go. We're going to continue to talk
not
about
letting it go at all.
Here. That is Gabe Fiver from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. You can hear every weekday starting at 5:30 a.m., 5:30 to 9 here on News Talk STL. Also check out Gabe's YouTube channel, St. John the Philosopher on YouTube. Gabe, as always, buddy, thanks so much. Have a great weekend and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks. God bless.
Back at you. All right. Before we talk to Aaron Tarlow, our gun expert and new host of Shall Not Be Infringed, which you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL, our old buddy Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com is going to join us next on Colombo Company.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Trump says the Epstein case is distracting from his accomplishments. Maybe, but we still want answers.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
You're dang right we do, Larry. Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, open 7 days a week. Your go-to place for all of your outdoor needs. We're talking to Mark McMurray, the owner of Bluff City. He was on with us yesterday, and a great reminder that, you know, we're in the second half of July now. We're actually getting closer and closer to bow hunting season in both Missouri and Illinois. So at Bluff City Outdoors, they have all your bow hunting needs covered. You can get a new bow. You can get your existing bow, you know, new strings repaired, whatever it may be. All the equipment that you need for bow hunting, they have you covered at Bluff City Outdoors. All your trapping needs covered at Bluff City Outdoors. Right now, we are in like full-blown fishing season, and they have all your fishing needs covered there at Bluff City Outdoors as well. Also, don't forget about the Bluff City Outdoors show every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL, hosted by myself and Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors. And check out Bluff City Outdoors for all those great products and services, including their state-of-the-art archery range, which is open for you to shoot in every day. Again, Bluff City Outdoors is in Alton, about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there on East Broadway. Learn more by following Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and by going to bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit stlfenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 119.94.1 News Talk STL. Thanks to Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning for joining us in those first two segments. In the 3 o'clock hour, we're going to have some Friday fun time, lighten the mood, and have some fun before we start the weekend. We're also going to talk to Aaron Tarlow, our gun expert and the new host of Shall Not Be Infringed. And right now, joining us on the line, Friday Crane Durham. Friday Crane is an abnormal experience, but one that I am very excited about. Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com. Buddy, brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
It's a Friday hug. It's loose. It's light. It's ready to go.
Yeah, and we know we're going to talk about war, so you know how it goes on a Friday afternoon.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on a Friday is because you're one of the people that we have talked a lot about the war in Ukraine with and gotten, dug into a lot of the details of what's happening there in Ukraine. And there's been a development in Congress this week that I think is not getting the publicity, the headlines that it normally would with everything else happening. But this is really interesting because a bipartisan group of congressmen and women are pushing forward the Sanctioning Russia Act of 2025. Lawmakers, one of the articles, this is one from one of the many articles about this. This I'm reading directly from the NPR article of all places. It's not often these days on Capitol Hill that Democrats are lining up to co-sponsor bill with Republicans, but lawmakers say the stakes with Russia go well beyond partisan disputes. Now a broad coalition of members have joined forces to slap the country with aggressive sanctions and believe the souring relationship between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has created a new opening. Quote, "We need to push forward with our bill." This is Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat of Connecticut. Our bill, quote, "Our bill already has been instrumental in shifting attitudes in the White House. A bipartisan group of more than 160 members of Congress has signed onto the Sanctioning Russia Act of 2025 in a bid to force Russia to the negotiating table for peace talks or regulate it as a trading island, further isolating the country from the world." So Congress, we don't usually talk about Congress moving or doing anything, but Congress trying to get involved actively in this situation. How does this idea of this Sanctioning Russia Act hit you, Crane? And do you feel does it give you any optimism that things will resolve any quicker?
Well, it's a step in the right direction in a number of ways. I like the fact that Congress is getting back involved and reclaiming its power. I wish it would do so on its tariffs as well. I think it's a big deal because sooner or later we're going to get to the right answer, and it's going to be before or after Ukraine either wins, holds off, or falls. And I'd much rather be there before it falls and is defended. Okay, because what people in factoring these things, we have kind of this dream that, hey, peace is the answer. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Okay, wonderful idea, wonderful. Autocratic dictators who are war criminals don't give a rip about peace, because there's peace in North Korea, there's peace in China, and there's arguably peace in Russia with Putin's inner core. Otherwise, anybody who's not peaceful there gets thrown out of a window from a very high location. So let's deal with the reality. And in my estimation, the reality is that we have to confront Russia indirectly, as it is through possibly NATO, and possibly directly in other ways with the direct funding for people who desire to be free. That would be the Ukrainians. And we'd send a signal both to the allies and participants in this war, like North Korea and China. Oh, you mean they work together? Yeah, Iran too. Doesn't take a rip in Einstein to figure that one out. It's all public knowledge. It's been referenced by Tom Cotton. So I think this is great because it's sunlight in exposing, yes, Ukraine is a worthy of our support. Budapest Memorandum, we keep our promises when we take away their nukes, and it's the right thing to do. And thank heavens the president has come around on this issue. As I said before, when we had discussed this, I didn't agree with the president on that. And I think over time, I think the truth will bear out.
You know, this has been, as I mentioned earlier, there's been so much going on this week, and the Epstein situation has dominated the headlines, and other stories have been dominating the headlines. This was actually a very big week as far as progress, potentially at least, being made in the war in Ukraine. When we had you on earlier this week, we were talking about the deal that that Trump and the United States made with NATO, and how we are now selling military resources to various NATO members who are then going to be passing those resources on to Ukraine. So we're actually getting paid and you know, getting paid back for some of these. We're not sending them directly to Ukraine ourselves. They're being bought by other countries before they make it to Ukraine, which is definitely a step in the right direction. Trump gave his 50-day ultimatum deadline to Vladimir Putin to start negotiating peace. And now we've got this story from Congress. All of this together, does it give you hope that we are actually making some progress in Ukraine? Because this has been like, it seemingly like the war that not only isn't going anywhere, but we barely even talk about anymore. And
I think it's an excellent point in saying we don't talk about that front in the war that we are against in our enemies. And nobody really wants to talk about that because nobody wants to go to war. And we've talked about the illogical isolationist arguments when they say, you want to go to war, do nothing. And it's asinine and it's intellectually dishonest. And Tucker Carlson and others have made it. And frankly, I like Tucker Carlson on some issues. And on some issues, I think he's totally out to lunch. And when it comes to Israel, he's way out to lunch. And when it comes to Ukraine, he's way out to lunch. Israel people said, oh, we bombed Iran, now we're going to get more war. No, it doesn't work that way. You take out the enemy's number one threat, and it actually hurts the enemy. If you don't do that, you end up with war. And if people think Iran's going to be satisfied by removing Israel from the planet, by the way, that would be the most horrendous thing to happen to this planet. The fact is, we got to do the right thing. And the arguments that say, hey, the alligator may eat us last are not good arguments, and they're not morally sound. And when it comes to Israel, it's replacement theology. That's in their story. I had to reference it because it is pervasive in some sectors of the right.
Crane Durham is with us every Tuesday afternoon for the entire 2:00 hour, as well as, the various surprise appearances like on a Friday afternoon today. And of course, you can always keep up with what Crane is doing at nothingbutTruth.com and the Nothing But Truth Facebook page. And Crane, we're almost out of time here, but I just want to make this promise to you. If you and I are ever in an embrace on the and get shown on a Jumbotron at a Coldplay concert, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to duck my head.
I'm squeezing harder, baby.
I'm not going.
I'm squeezing harder.
I'm not going to try to hide our relationship from the world like some others in the news have been doing. We're going to definitely talk about that story a little bit later on when we get into some Friday fun time. But if you haven't seen the video from the Coldplay concert last night, it is hilarious. It is sad, but it is also hilarious. And it's also just it's a lesson in so many. There's many lessons to be learned from that situation. Absolutely hilarious.
I rip and love you, man. Thank you so much for letting me be part of your show.
Back at you, buddy. We'll talk to you again. Have a great weekend.
Right.
And we'll talk to you again on Tuesday. That is Crane Durham from nothingbutTruth.com and the Nothing But Truth Facebook page. All right. As I mentioned, we've got some Friday fun time coming your way to, start the weekend on a lighter note. And also, in just a few moments, we're going to be joined by Aaron Tarlow. He is the longtime gun expert on this show, and he is now the host of Shall Not Be Infringed, which you can hear every Sunday night here on News Talk STL. Aaron joins us next here on Colombo Company on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I know no matter where I go, I keep my
Hey, it's Vic Borselli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need to understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hi, this is St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder, reminding you to check out my new show this weekend.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
That's me. Every Sunday evening at 5, we will explore with you behind-the-scenes stories and information that you won't hear anywhere else. Plus, we talk to decision makers and influencers that have impact on what's going on in St. Louis County and beyond.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
I'll talk to you Sunday night at 5, only on News Talk STL.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. President Trump signing into law a new set of regulations for a type of cryptocurrency. The Genius Act sets initial guardrails and consumer protections for stable coins, a type of cryptocurrency that is tied to a stable asset like the U.S. dollar to reduce price volatility. It passed both the House and Senate with wide bipartisan margins. Congress clearing a $9 billion package for spending cuts to foreign aid and public broadcasting for President Trump's signature that codifies a small portion of DOGE savings. More from Bernie Bennett.
The Senate amended measure, which restored $400 million to a global AIDS prevention program that the original package had cut, passed the House shortly after midnight through a 216-213 procedural vote that deemed the measure approved without a direct up or down vote. The package, which originated as a request from the White House Office of Management and Budget, represents roughly 5% of the $190 billion in savings DOGE says it has identified. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Also at townhall.com. Trump administration has agreed to release some education funding to states.
Some frozen grants supporting after-school and summer programs are being released by the Education Department. That decision comes days after 10 Republican senators pushed the Office of Management and Budget to release the funds. The Trump administration held back billions of dollars in grants on July 1st, including $1.3 billion for after-school programs as part of a spending review. Earlier this week, senators emphasized that these programs have bipartisan support and are vital to local communities. Hayap Anjwani, Washington.
The investigation continues in Los Angeles after 3 sheriff's deputies killed today in what officials say appears to be an accidental explosion. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Healthcare is complicated. It doesn't have to be. If you don't love how your health insurance works, maybe it's time to leave traditional health insurance behind. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers you flexibility, Enroll anytime, choose your own provider, and select the program that fits your needs and budget. CHM is the original faith-based way of taking care of your medical bill costs. Learn more at chministries.org/wellness.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. We're going to be feeling an increase in humidity this afternoon, keeping a lot of that cloud cover, and some isolated storms are possible throughout the afternoon into the early evening. But once we get closer to sunset, those storm chances will quickly fade. Can't rule out a couple of them being stronger, especially the further south of St. Louis that you go. The big story is the building heat. Today we're in the upper 80s, but by the weekend we're back in the 90s. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Fox News commentary.
We no longer have to take our shoes off to go through airport security. I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
Sponsored by AxeCap Ventures. America, listen up. Gold prices are breaking records. With inflation raging and central banks hoarding, every American should own gold. And like President Trump said, whoever holds the gold makes the rules. AxeCap Ventures owns one of Nevada's largest undeveloped gold deposits and trades for pennies on the dollar. This could be your way to ride the gold boom. AxeCap trades under GARLF on the OTC. Visit axecapventures.ca today.
Few bipartisan issues left in today's political landscape, but I'm hoping this next one will be a rare exception. DHS Secretary Noem announced passengers will no longer have to take our shoes off while going through TSA airport security. The inconvenience of removing our shoes is likely the primary reason many of us got TSA pre-check, but I'm glad this will now apply to the masses. I'd note I'm happy to remove my shoes for the sake of national security. However, with the advancements in security technology, the shoes off rule seems antiquated, and Secretary Noem agrees. Hopefully this will help security go smoother and faster because Lord knows we could use that. Now that we don't have to strip our shoes off for airport security, please, my fellow passengers, follow that through and do not take your shoes off while on the plane either. We don't need to smell your feet. I'm Tommy Laren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Laren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
Isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? How the mayors in these sanctuary jurisdictions are dealing with it, that's interesting.
Safety is our primary concern.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Colombo Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. In just about 20 minutes from now, we are going to get you the weekend forecast from Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett. It's always an important moment to learn, especially when it's been as hot and weird rain popping up all over the place. Looking forward to getting that information from Kristen Cornett at about 3:30 this afternoon. So definitely keep it here for that. Right now, joining us on the line is the new host, an old friend, but a new host, Aaron Tarlow, who has been the gun expert on this show and various shows that I've been a part of for years, even back at the old place. Is now the new host of Shall Not Be Infringed, which you can hear every Sunday night at 9 p.m. here on News Talk STL, taking over from Aaron Dorr on that great program. And Aaron Tarlow is with us now on the line. Aaron, congratulations on taking over a great show, and welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Oh, man, it's great. I love getting the band back together. There is absolutely no doubt about it. It feels like coming home, right?
Yes.
It's like the old place. There's a ton of faces from the old place, the new place, and it's great. I absolutely love it. The new studio is awesome. Although I was a little confused when I walked in. It looks like a set, with couches and chairs.
Yeah, no, it's great. So for people that know, Aaron's been on this show many times. We started together back at the old place. We started a show called Second Amendment Radio years ago. and that focus on gun rights and gun laws and gun and firearm education and things like that. And yeah,
and
and
we were really like a variety show, is what I tell people.
Yeah.
You can get on any platform and go watch gun reviews, gear reviews, or whatever, but very few people are talking about the laws, the legislation, and the stuff they're sneaking in through executive orders or backdoor gun control or red flag laws, fancy buzzwords. So, and that was the feedback I constantly got back was, you and Tony are talking about the stuff that, is under the radar for most gun owners. And the other view that I had they thought was pretty unique was, I never really considered guns to be like just a Republican conservative thing, that because it was a constitutional guarantee, it applied to all citizens regardless of their political views.
Yeah, and I remember we really saw that. I'm glad you bring that up, and I'll be a part of Aaron's first show this weekend, taking over Shall Not Be a Fringe again, 9 p.m. Sunday nights here on News Talk STL. I'll be joining Aaron for his first time hosting that show and taking over this weekend, and very much looking forward to that. But one of the things that we covered in real time while it was happening was when there was the threat of losing some of your Second Amendment rights, and then suddenly there was a mass run. I remember, when there was the idea of Hillary Clinton maybe winning the 2016 election, that there were people lined up at gun stores and places like Cabela's and Bass Pros, and Aaron was the longtime owner of Southern Armory, so you experienced this personally as well. It became very apparent that people from all walks of life were suddenly very concerned about their Second Amendment rights. So this is something that touches everyone. Politicians and the media will try to make it a Republican Democrat issue, but I know lots of Democrats that own guns and are very protective of their Second Amendment rights. So it is not the bipartisan issue that some try to make it.
It really isn't, and we saw it in 2016, and then we saw it again in 2020 during COVID, where I had people coming in and going, "Hey, I'm a Democrat," and I was like, "But are you a U.S. citizen?"
Don't tell anybody.
Like, yeah. And I was like, "Cool, like welcome to Southern Armory. What do you need?" They're like, "I need." And like they're talking quiet. Meanwhile, like the town's fucking loud.
Yeah, I'm a Democrat. Don't tell anybody, but I'd like to buy a gun.
I need to buy a gun to protect my family because I don't know what's going to happen with this COVID thing.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah, cool. Yeah.
Well, let's get some education first. We'll figure out a gun for you. We'll talk about safe storage. We'll talk about ammo. Like you have kids, they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh great, I got some NRA stuff. They're like, oh. I'm like, no. It's coloring books for you to teach your kids.
Yeah, you don't got to join. You're not signing up.
Hurt you. I'm trying to make sure you take this gun home.
Yeah.
Be responsible. Store it safely, use it safely, and educate your kid. If you find it, don't touch it.
Yeah.
And just because you're educating your kid and you're keeping your gun locked up in a safe place doesn't mean somebody else who's brand new, who's also in here buying a gun, is going to do the same thing. And it covers every facet, every walk, every political division, every religion. It's your right, and it's a right endowed by your Creator, by God, who's giving you this ability to protect yourself.
Yeah,
right. And it's well documented in the Bible and other texts as well that this is just kind of one of those fundamental rights, and it knows no bounds.
And I think that it has gotten to be a much more popular issue and a much more comfortable to talk about issue for many people. And we see in polling that, it has definitely shifted. It's very clear that the majority of Americans want to protect their Second Amendment rights, but this doesn't stop Democrats and legislation. I mean, we still hear all the time about some particular state trying to ban, AR-15s or ban magazines,
or
whatever it may be.
A threaded barrel, a collapsible stock, a bayonet, all these accessories that kind of go with, and I made the comments like, when was the last time you heard of a bayoneting? I mean, let's be serious. Like, it's not a thing. I've got a bayonet,
Right.
you know, kind of
Right.
cool piece of history.
Yeah.
Because the one I have is from World War II and goes
Right.
on like an M1 Grand. But you know, I mean, we're going to ban that in certain states. Get out.
Yeah,
You know?
a gun collect. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that a gun collector or somebody that has that a piece of history or something that you don't. If you look up the stats, I don't think there's a whole lot of crimes being committed currently with bayonets. Assigning gun, and they do that all the time. They do that all the time. The same thing goes to the AR-15. The vast majority of crimes are committed with handguns, but you always see them targeting, whatever.
Well,
Can you hear?
see that, Tony.
Yeah.
It actually, we were talking, when you talk about murders, you're more likely to be murdered. Everybody needs to sit down, pull over, buckle up, or whatever. You're more likely to be murdered by somebody you know of the same race, and more than likely with a blunt object, like a hammer.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, baseball bat. Like the statistics of a firearm being used are lower than that. And then when you break them down into the subcategories, I remember one time you and I actually pulled up the FBI statistics. We talked about it on air years ago.
Yep.
And it was like handguns, then like shotguns and rifles combined, and then like we don't know what it was.
Right. Yes, I do.
What do you mean you don't know what it was? Oh, it's been those all other weapons we keep hearing about, right? Because you don't know, what it is. Like, okay, well, leave it to the government not to know how to classify something and just create a whole new category.
Yeah, it's a overwhelming percentage of crime of when there is a gun used in the commission of a crime. It is almost always a handgun. It's not the AR-15. It's not things like we've seen them go after ghost guns. They try to scare people with ghost guns and things like that. If they were truly, it proves that they're not trying to keep people safe when they it just proves that this is all political theater when they try to make you afraid of something like a ghost gun.
Hammers.
Yeah.
And baseball bats.
Yeah.
If we were really trying to keep people safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know those are some of the main issues that you'll be talking about on It Shall Not Be Infringed. Aaron Tarlow, the former owner of Southern Armory, longtime gun expert here on Colombo and Company, is taking over that show this weekend, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. here on News Talk STL. You touched on you mentioned red flag laws a moment ago. This is another topic that I think is so important, and one of those things that before you and I were on the air talking about this, it wasn't being talked about anywhere. And I'm glad to have seen this get more into the national discussion, but I still think it's one of these issues that are not talked about enough. People need to know what red flag laws are and quite frankly, what they aren't, because what you hear from the media is not necessarily the truth. And I think another perfect example of one of the issues that, you'll be discussing every week on Shall Not Be Infringed, but the red flag law issue specifically, Aaron, is that push for red flag laws as strong as it ever has been from folks on the left, or have they been exposed for the lies that they've been telling about them?
I know we talked about a gentleman on the East Coast and his sister. It was like a holiday, and his sister and him and started kind of arguing about political stuff. So she calls the police and files this report, which triggers this red flag event. And then they showed up at his house and ended up killing him. And then in the end, she goes, I just wanted to scare him and kind of get back at him. You didn't have to kill him. He really had done nothing wrong. But she had essentially legally swatted him.
Yes.
And then she regretted it. And it's like, this can be abused. This is serious. There is a way for these things to be reported, through healthcare providers, right? So if somebody is talking about it and they go to the hospital and they're still talking about it, or you're telling a therapist you're going to go harm people, right? They have that duty to report it, because it's not part of that patient doctor confidentiality. And so this was literally a way for anybody to legally get you swatted. And it could be a neighbor, it could be a friend, it could be somebody online, it could be, a family member. And it's wild that the government, killed somebody over it.
Totally threw due process out the window and those red flag laws and every red flag law I've ever seen. The due process goes out the window. You're guilty before, and you have to prove your innocence. You lose your guns. They show up at your house to take your guns from you.
And they're showing up, and they're not showing up at like 8 in the morning.
At dinner time. Yeah.
They're showing up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and knocking doors down. Okay. They're literally raiding the houses. And this is what happened to this guy was, the door got knocked on at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So he answers the door with a gun because somebody's knocking at the door at an unusual time. And then law enforcement saw the gun and shot him.
Yeah.
And so, it would be like one thing, if it was handled more properly, but they're not. They're treating this like high risk warrant service,
right? And even in a case like that, I mean, everybody's in a bad position. The cops are in a bad position because what the information they're operating on is this is a person, a dangerous armed individual on the other side because they've been lied to by the person that made the false accusation, and we've seen so many instances of the abuse being used.
Really, you hit the nail on the head. There's no due process, so it's not like a report can be made to the police. The police can go to a judge with the people that are making this report, and then the judge saying yay or nay, and then going through and saying, yeah, here's your warrant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually having process. This is happening in very rapid succession. And for those that are not familiar with the term swatting, that is when somebody who doesn't like you or wants to prank you, calls the police and says, there's somebody been murdered here, there's somebody being held hostage here, there's been a kidnapping here, and then the police roll in hot and heavy, thinking that's the actual event going on there. And the reality is there's no such event going on. It's all fictitious.
Got a couple minutes left here with Aaron Tarlow, the new host of Shall Not Be Infringed, which you can hear every Sunday night, 9 p.m. here on News Talk STL. One more thing I wanted to touch on before we run out of time, Aaron, is education and gun safety. And you're a certified CCW trainer, and so the proper gun safety and how important that is. And I think that as we have seen so many people embrace their Second Amendment rights over the last several years, and we've seen gun ownership spike, I think that that's wonderful. And I think that's a great story. But I think that it's just as important that along with that, especially if this is your first firearm or, a firearm that you're unfamiliar with in any way, knowing the ins and outs of how to use that firearm and how to safely store and keep that firearm is just as important as protecting your Second Amendment rights. And I know that that's something that will be a big talking point as well.
We always talk about responsible ownership. So if we can self-regulate, then there's no reason for the government to regulate. And so when we talk about responsible ownership, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about learning how to properly use it, learning the circumstances in which you can use it, whether that's target shooting, self-defense, hunting, competition, and then like the safe storage of, okay? And the more education you have, the more empowered you are. And then you'll be like me and Tony, where you'll spot these things from a mile away and go, no, this is no good. This is not
the proper way. This is not the safe way. Yeah.
Going to be the problems.
Yeah. And there's no one way, and there's no blanket answer. There's no like, well, Aaron, what's the best way to keep your gun safe? What's the right way to say it? Everybody's got their own unique situation, their own unique, if you're a single person that doesn't have kids, that, then the proper way to store and be safe may be a little bit different than somebody that's got a lot of kids in the home and things like that. So it's a different answer for everybody.
A collector versus somebody who lives in an apartment or a house. Somebody who lives in, an urban, suburban area versus somebody who's very rural. there's different ways. Like we moved from the suburbs out into a more rural area. So now it's like, fire rated safes with long burn times, right? Because that's like kind of my biggest threat around here. Is the house, God forbid, the house burning down and losing my collection. Where I lived up in Oakville in the Melville Fire Protection District. If a fire broke out, there was fire trucks everywhere, and they were very, very good and very, very well equipped with short response times. And so that was not really the fear; it was more a burglary, right? Where you would still keep it locked up, but the need or the type of safe is different. And like you said too, kids, no kids, married. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and really what the big part of education is the management of risk, right? And you identify what those risks are. And the same thing when you're buying a firearm, you're going to identify what the purpose of that firearm is.
That's Aaron Tarlow, the new host of Shall Not Be Infringed. I will be on for the first show that he is taking over this weekend. Looking forward very much to that, and looking forward to tuning in each and every weekend moving forward. Aaron, thanks for your time this afternoon. Have a great show this weekend, and we'll be talking to you again very soon, my friend. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, bye. Have a great day, Tony.
Yeah, awesome stuff there. Aaron Tarlow, the former owner of Southern Armory, longtime gun expert here on this show, and now taking over Shall Not Be Infringed every Sunday night here at 9 p.m. on News Talk STL. All right, let's have a little Friday fun time before we start the weekend, and also get you up to speed on what's happening out there weather-wise. Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett is going to bring us the weekend forecast next here on Colombo and Company.
It's Friday!
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Intervine and Intervine.com, the local family-owned business that makes the best lanterns, flashlights, and headlamps available on the market. You hear Mike McCleary, the owner of Intervine, on the show every week. He's our big tech AI expert here on Colombo and Company. But he has built this company and has dedicated it to customer service. I can't tell you, I have never, I don't think, worked with a company where I have gotten more feedback about the personal touch that is put on every purchase. The personal touch that is put on every time somebody buys something from Intervine and says, somehow communicates that they heard it here on the show, or they've heard Mike on the show, or whatever it may be, the handwritten notes and things like that. Customer service has always been at the heart of everything that they do at Intervine, as well as providing top of the line, state of the art products, the heavy duty stuff for the hardcore outdoorsman, to the small, reliable flashlight or headlamp or lantern that fits easily in a drawer or the glove box of your vehicle, so you always have that reliable light source. They also make batteries in all different sizes, and right now you can get 25% off everything at Intervine just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code, TONY. Tony as your promo code at Intervine.com gets you 25% off everything. You can just stock up on batteries at that unbelievable price, as well as get yourself a flashlight, lantern, or headlamp. Intervine is INTERVINE. Use my name, Tony, for 25% off everything at Intervine.com.
It's a brand new year. Tim Jones to tell you about the brand new things happening at The Hideout, famous for the Sunset Patio, 50 big screen TVs, live music and events, a fantastic game room, and of course, the food. The Hideout has a brand new menu featuring their world famous wings, the best handcrafted burgers, new items like the signature Sunset Dip and Dave's Chili, and a second location at Sugar Creek Golf Course in beautiful High Ridge. Experience The Hideout while enjoying a round of golf. Come in for lunch or dinner. The new 2025 Hideout, hideoutsportsbar.com, hideoutsportsbar.com. We'll definitely see you there.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I have a personal question for you. Some might take offense. If so, I'm sorry. For some, it might be embarrassing. Again, sorry. But I'm still asking the question. How old were you when you stopped taking money from your parents? When you realized, or they told you, if you want money, you got to earn it the old-fashioned way. Granted, in your early adulthood, maybe they helped out on some big-ticket items, sometimes not even giving you actual money, but co-signing for you on a note so you could get it and establish credit, make a down payment, whatever. I know many of you are probably like me, earning your own money as soon as you could, mowing lawns, babysitting, dog walking, car washing. They gave you pocket change, but you reach a point where you need more money. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call? Well, Zoran Mandami, the mayoral candidate in New York City, has the answer, at least for him. The guy that wants to oversee the New York City budget says, I did work, but then I took time off to run for office. And I knew that if I run out of money, my family would support me. Typical socialist attitude. And as Margaret Thatcher said, that works until the other people run out of money.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
John Beal Roofing reminds you we are in the stormy season, and that means if you have even the smallest leak in your roof, you could soon have a much bigger issue. Call John Beal to make sure that your biggest investment is protected. That call can save you major dollars. If you do get hit during a storm, John Beal has a rapid response team. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, John Beal.
Looking for excitement, fun, and delicious food for the whole family? Piccadilly Parwan has it all. Savor our scratch-made dishes. Nothing frozen. Every bite a true delight. Roll into fun at Piccadilly Palace for roller skating or race your heart out at Piccadilly Kart Racing. Join us for happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 till 6. Free select appetizers and drink specials. And don't miss our mouth-watering Sunday family dinners. Piccadilly Parwan on Audrey Lane in Union, Missouri, or online at PiccadillyPar1.com.
Here's great news. Napoli Kirkwood is now open. So that means fine dining right in the heart of Kirkwood. So you have the original Cafe Napoli in downtown Clayton, Napoli 2, Town and Country, Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, plus Napoli Brothers Pasta and Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley. All of those locations, and now adding Napoli Kirkwood. What a great place to dine. Napoli Kirkwood, now open.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
McGuire Moving is silver certified, which means they are great at relocating senior citizens. In fact, McGuire is a household name because McGuire understands the stress involved when moving older adults. So if you or family members need help moving, I highly recommend McGuire Moving. 314-241-0600. 241-0600. Get a free in-home estimate. McGuireMoving.com.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Trump says the Epstein case is distracting from his accomplishments. Maybe, but we still want answers.
Larry Connors USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body like you, but I gotta think twice.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.994.1 News Talk STL. One more segment to go before we hand things off to the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show. Get you ready to start your weekend. And here to help us with our weekend plans is Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett. Joins us now for the weekend forecast. Kristen, as always, thank you so much for your time because St. Louis weather is already unpredictable, but this year, forget about it. Don't even try.
No.
So I don't even,
It's
I wait to hear,
exhausting.
I wait to hear from you guys and don't even try to make any predictions or guesses on my own. Certainly.
It's been wild.
Mhm.
I mean, just the fact that, we've had like double the tornadoes we usually have in a whole year in 3 months alone. But then when you start looking at, how much rain and how wet our spring was. And, typically by now we're starting to get into more of like just hot and dry. We had rain every day. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, and
I
this
wish I had
week,
an answer for you.
yeah, you mentioned that this week, especially, it seems like the scattered rain. Like you'll talk to, I'll get a call from home or something, and they'll be like, "Hey, is it raining there?" And like, no, it's sunny here. It's like, oh, it's pouring here, and it's only 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And they're only 10 minutes away. You know what I mean?
Exactly. The very definition of scattered thunderstorms,
Yeah,
my friend.
it's been.
We're going to have a bit more of that
All right.
before it just gets hot and dry. So let me
Gotcha.
take you through it.
Please do.
We're dealing with those scattered storms right now, actually. So it's really hit or miss. Here's the thing. If you get under one of these thunderstorms, it's pretty high impact because they have very heavy rain with them. I mean, if you've been outside, you know how humid it is. So there's a lot of moisture for these storms to work with. So they produce really heavy rain, lightning, and then potentially some strong gusty winds. So that's the roll through the evening, and then we drop down to about 75 overnight. Saturday, I bumped the chance up to rain about 40%, so it's a 40% chance of scattered thunderstorms, partly to mostly cloudy skies, 93 degrees. The peak heat index, it's going to be up to 105. So with that said, yeah, and it just gets worse from here. The National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning for our area that starts on Saturday and it goes until Wednesday. And let me say, at least Wednesday, I would not be surprised if we don't see this thing get extended. I mean, once these temperatures get into the mid upper 90s, I don't see a break anytime soon.
Wow.
It's just going to be, I mean, it's not a meteorological term, but I'm just going to say it's just going to be gross. It's going to be gross.
Yeah.
So get ready. Saturday night, 20% chance of storms. We dropped to 78. Sunday and Monday, pretty much a repeat both days. It's mostly sunny. It's hot. It's humid. The high 95, peak heat index up around 105. And then there's only a 20% chance for a few little isolated thunderstorms each day. So read that as mainly dry. Again, if you get unlucky and get under one of these, if you get some really heavy rain, I say unlucky, maybe lucky. I don't know. It'll cool you off for a while, right? Because it's going to be so hot and humid.
Yeah.
And then starting on Tuesday, it's just sunny and hot and humid every single day for like the next week.
I guess we're paying for it because what was it? It was like mid-June before we even got a day in the
You're
90s.
right.
And
It was so late before we ever saw a 90-degree reading. So yeah, this is payback.
Yeah, and now it feels like it's been hot forever. Like I can't even remember those days of where it was below 90 for so long. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about getting the information from the pros. Great to know, and definitely be aware of that heat and stay cool and stay safe out there. The dog days of St. Louis summer are upon us for sure. Kristen Cornett, thank you as always for your time. Have a great weekend yourself, and we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Stay cool, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. That is Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett, and geez, that is some very hot temperatures. When she said Saturday was 93 and the heat index was 105, and that's just getting in that we were just getting started and it only gets worse. You know that means it's going to be hot in St. Louis. So be aware of that and stay safe and stay cool. And speaking of the heat, producer Ashlyn, can you jump on the microphone there? Was it Wednesday afternoon that during Close's cabinet, we were talking about a viral TikTok video, a trend, an internet trend, where people were going out to their very hot cars that have been parked, in the heat for a long time, and everybody deals with that. How it's so hot you can't even touch the steering wheel. And there's an internet trend going around that says if you go out to your car and you roll down the passenger window, and then you walk back before you get in it, you go out to your car when it's burning hot. You go out, you roll down the passenger window, and then you walk back around to the driver's side and you start to open and close your door, like to fan, it's basically suck the hot air out and fan the vehicle. People online are swearing that it dramatically decreases the temperature in the vehicle and you don't have to wait 10 minutes for the air conditioner to kick in before you start to get some relief, that it immediately does that. Ashlyn, as a investigative journalist, took it upon herself to test this theory, correct? You tested this theory.
I did.
That afternoon.
I was so serious about it because
You
it
were.
is hotter than Hades in my car when I get out there. So yeah, I tested it, and it actually was so significantly cooler in my car. It's definitely a hack if you have to park out in the sun and don't have a garage to park in or one of
Shade,
those
yeah.
little visors you put in your car. So definitely, I think you should all try it.
So you can confirm that this, because some of the internet fads and trends over the years have not panned out to be the truth, but you can confirm that this one indeed works.
It indeed works.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to. There have been people that have actually used like a laser thermometer, like a one of those that you point, and have shown that it'll drop 10, 15 degrees sometimes when you do that. I think maybe we should shoot a video of us with a thermometer, doing it to prove to the world what you already know.
We'll do it,
and that
Let's do it.
those things work. Also, a little fun stuff here. Friday fun time before we wrap things up. You can stay on the mic there, Ashlyn, if you want to. If you have anything to say about the Coldplay incident, the CEO that has been caught cheating on his wife. If you have to have seen this video, it is everywhere. Coldplay concert the other night. The classic. I don't know if they call it a kiss cam at the Coldplay show, but that's what they call it. Like Cardinal games and things like that. They'll spot couples, snuggled up at the Cardinal game or concert or whatever it may be. And in this case, the lead singer, Chris Martin of Coldplay, I guess this is a bit that they do every night at their shows. They start, panning around and focusing on these people, and he'll actually talk about them instead of just flashing them up on the screen like you see it like a Cardinal game and people like either cheer or whatever, laugh. He'll like start talk like, oh, look at these two. Look at these two. They're, oh, this guy's never been happier in his life, or oh, they look like they look like they're truly in love. He'll like talk about them and usually get like waves and fist pumps and all that kind of stuff. This camera hits these two. And this guy, it's like his knees gave out. The
panic on his face. Yeah,
he didn't duck. He collapsed. Yeah. And she spins around really quick. And Chris Martin even says, "Oh, we either just put the camera on somebody who's really shy, or we caught somebody having an affair." And it was catching somebody having an affair.
Have you seen the memes?
I'm sure they are.
Open to network. Like a LinkedIn thing, they posted their picture.
Yeah, and the fact that this guy is the CEO of the company, and that this woman was his chief people officer, which I already hate. That we, don't call it HR, call it the people department.
Yeah,
like it already makes my stomach hurt. And then, to know that we know that at least he was married. I don't know if it's ever been revealed whether or not she was married, also or not. And
his PR statement was just.
Here's the thing, and I don't mean to give advice to anybody when you're up to no good like that, but had they not have made such a spectacle out of it, they probably wouldn't have gotten caught.
Literally,
they would have just moved on, and even if somebody would have been there that maybe would have recognized them, but that already is a long shot. They would just go, oh man, that guy kind of looks like Steve from The Office, doesn't it? Oh well. Okay.
That's another meme.
Yeah, and then it's over with, right? But I mean, the fact that they were so the reaction to it was so over the top and so obvious that they had been caught.
They definitely outed themselves.
Yeah. And good because they deserve to be outed. Chief people officer. Give me a break. But really, really funny stuff. All right, that is going to do it for Colombo Company this week. Have a wonderful weekend. We're back Monday at 2. In the meantime, keep it here for the O'Reilly Report. Next, then, the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show on News Talk STL.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands. Because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody. It's our favorite song. Barbie! It's time to sparkle and shine at Barbie Game Day on Wednesday, July 30th at Busch Stadium. Grab a special theme ticket and take home an exclusive Barbie Cardinals jersey, where glam meets game day. Dress in pink, bring your squad, and celebrate the brand that proves you can be anything. It's all about confidence, possibility, and playing your way. Snag your tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
Attention, reptile lovers. Ready to discover your next scaly friend? Welcome to the Show Me Reptile Shop, your ultimate destination for fascinating reptiles and exotic pets, with 3 convenient locations in Troy, St. Peters, and Springfield. We have an amazing selection of snakes, lizards, turtles, and more. Whether you're a seasoned herpetologist or a curious beginner, we've got the perfect pet waiting for you. Show Me Reptile Shop. Visit us in Troy, St. Peters, or Springfield, and online at showmereptileshow.com.
Tired of the same old pizza chains? Boring. Want a delicious alternative? Look no further. Woodson Stonefire has you covered, offering a delicious, mouth-watering alternative with a wide menu that surely offers something for everyone's taste. Our pizza will have you saying wow. Family-owned and operated in addition to being locally owned. Pizza is truly our passion. Woodson Stonefire, 3120 West Clay in St. Charles. Call 636-493-0532 to place your order now.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Love spending time outdoors, but hate the bugs? This year's tick problem is worse than ever. Don't let mosquitoes, ticks, gnats, and chiggers ruin your family fun. Mosquito Joe delivers effective pest control that's guaranteed to protect your family and pets. No long-term contract, and we handle all the scheduling for you. Mosquito Joe is winning the battle against bugs. Get your free estimate today by calling 1-855-ASK-A-JOE. That's 1-855-ASK-A-JOE. Mosquito Joe, we make the outdoors fun again.
Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Friday, July 18th, 2025. Here's what's happening today in America. Trump health diagnosis. Mexico suing. England lowers the age. And Colbert is axed. It's all coming up. And Bill's going to be here with your message of the day. But first, the White House has announced that the president has been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. This is from the White House. They showed a letter from Trump's doctor, which said Trump was examined after he noticed mild swelling in his legs. Trump's doctor said that this is benign and common, particularly among adults over the age of 70. Chronic venous insufficiency is a circulatory condition where the veins in the leg have difficulty returning blood back to the heart due to damaged valves. This can cause the blood to pool in the legs and lead to swelling. It's fairly common, affecting up to 40% of the U.S. population, but that could even be a low estimate because CVI isn't easily detected on routine tests. Trump is 79 years old. The president of Mexico said they are considering legal action against ICE after a farmer fell to his death during an immigration raid at a marijuana farm north of LA. The man was Mexican. For some reason, he climbed to the top of a 30-foot building and then fell off it as he was trying to escape from federal agents, but DHS said they were never chasing the guy. They said this man was not and has not been in CBP or ICE custody. He was not being pursued by law enforcement, but climbed to the top of a greenhouse and fell 30 feet. Border Patrol immediately called the medevac. In other border news, Congresswoman, the Republican Congresswoman from south of Miami, Congresswoman Salazar, has proposed the Dignity Act, which she says is not amnesty, but it does indeed give illegal aliens a pathway to citizenship. To the point where if it were the law today, even Kilmar Abrego Garcia could come back to America and one day become a U.S. citizen. England is going to lower the country's voting age to 16. The voting age was lowered from 21 to 18 back in 1968. The lowering of the age was part of the Labour Party's platform. Their argument was this would bring greater fairness to 16 and 17-year-olds who are eligible to work and serve in the military. It's also because kids are more likely to be little communists and vote for far-left politicians, obviously. CBS is getting rid of The Late Show. which has been on CBS since 1993 with David Letterman. Colbert is the current host. It will end in May. The president of CBS said this is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. That's a nice thing to say, I guess, but it certainly has to do with all of those other things as well. Colbert has been the host of The Late Show for the last 10 years. I'm Mike Slater from Politics by Faith. Bill O'Reilly, he has your message of the day. Next.
Homeowners, when is the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles, and your equity is a target. Criminals forge your signature. Just like that, your home title can be transferred out of your name. That's why I partnered up with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Please use my promo code BILL at HomeTitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you will get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts of any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code BILL.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
JC's Wayback Machine.
We'll remember the moon landing this week in '69, the 50th anniversary of the Fleetwood Mac album, and Michael J. Fox's visit in '91. Plus a rare A-list interview with Linda Ronstadt, who turned 75 this week. We talked with the great Jimmy Griffin and give away some El Monstero tickets. All that, along with great tunes from the 90s, 80s, and 70s, presented by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine.